This one is not going to be an easy one, guys. So if you're here to have some sort of a cushy video where it kind of confirms everything that you believe, then this video might not be for you. But if you want to become the best version of you that you could possibly be, then do keep watching, because I think this video might just be for you. Now, if you guys have seen the thumbnail of this video, I will be talking about Gary Vaynerchuk, and specifically I will be talking about one of the things that he said that honestly changed my life and my perspective on things a fair bit. That is because this innocuous little quote has some very deep and very serious implications, and I've actually spent the last 2 to 3 years of my life seriously digging into essentially this one problem. But before I actually get into what this problem is, I want to quickly give you guys the quote.
And the thing that I'm most scared of, one of the biggest reasons I like spending time with really old people, retirement home stuff, is if I could give you a crazy left field piece of advice, go one day to a retirement home and just help out. If you see regret in a man's eyes, like real regret, when the game's over, it will change the way you navigate your life every day.
Now, can we just take a second that I found that particular clip in the Garyvee search engine? So the guy has a search engine of all of the things that he said, and you just click on a video and like there is the quote. It actually makes things very nice and easy, so thank you for that. And if you guys haven't been able to guess, the thing that I will be talking about is regret and how to avoid it. Now, this video is more of a guess on how I will be able to avoid regret. That's mostly because this is what I have used to avoid regret in my life, but as you can tell, hopefully I'm not an 80-year-old retired person, and therefore I don't fully know just because I don't have the life experience, but this is my bet on how I plan on avoiding regret and how you can too. Now, regret is not one of those things that we talk about, but it is actually a thing that we talk about a fair bit, and that is in the form of midlife crises. People are actually pretty desensitized to this little phenomenon that honestly I think is a horrible thing. Imagine waking up between 30 and 50 and looking back at your life and going, oh my god, what did I do? Where did all my time go? I regret so much, and kind of freaking out, having one of the traditional midlife crises, or honestly nowadays, quarter life crises. People my age are having full-on breakdowns, and I think that's both a good thing and a bad thing. It's a good thing because it wakes you up to reality and now you're able to solve your problems, but it's a bad thing because no one wants a crisis. So then, ramblings aside, Soma, how are you planning on avoiding crises in your life? And that is a very good question, dear viewer. I have narrowed regret down to essentially one main theme, and that one theme is instant gratification. Now, I have said this before, instant gratification in my mind is the root of pretty much all evil. If people were to just stop taking instant gratification, there would be less evil in the world. Now, this is just my hypothesis. This is not the point of this video, so please don't go down in the comments down below and type what a horrible person I am saying that instant gratification is the reason they're evil. Instead, leave a comment telling me what you thought about this video so far. But honestly, instant gratification is not a good thing because it is instant, but there is a trade-off, because there is always a trade-off. And the trade-off in instant gratification is you don't get long-term gratification. Instead, you get the thing right now, but you don't get 20 things in the future. And specifically, I think we can apply this to 3 core areas of a person's life. Those 3 core areas being your career, your friendships, and yourself. So then let's elaborate on all 3 of these areas and see how I plan on kind of shoring up my boat and making sure that I don't have a meltdown when I am older. Starting off with the first one, and that is your career, your profession, your job, the way you make your money. Now, so many people I find take the easy way out. They take the cushy corporate job that pays them a decent amount of money, but that ultimately just makes them want to put a gun in their mouth. And I've talked to a few people like this, and I've heard of so many stories about this. No, this is not going to be one of those rants about becoming an entrepreneur, because honestly, I'm kind of trying to become an entrepreneur, and it's maybe a little more stress than what it's worth it. However, I do strongly recommend you actually figure out what you want to do, and more specifically, figure out what you're actually good at doing. Because I find that if you're good at something, eventually you'll end up liking it. Whereas you might really like the thing, but if you're not good at it, eventually you'll end up hating that. And I find that in my life and in most people's lives. For instance, I'm pretty good at camera work. I'm pretty good as a video camera operator. And I didn't think I'd ever want to touch a camera in my life. I actually wanted to be an actor. But here we are, filming myself in, honestly, not a bad set, considering this room is a teeny tiny room. And so I really strongly encourage you, and I know this is kind of a cliche, even Gary talks about it, that really take a second and figure out what you want to do. And honestly, it's hard for me too, because it's hard for me to watch people my age making $100,000 in their job that I know might, in the end of the day, not be the best thing for them. I know that at the end of the day, when they're 50, they might end up regretting. But it's hard for me to watch them because they're able to buy the things that I want to buy, but that I can't get, and they're able to do the things that I potentially want to do that I can't do right now because I'm kind of still on the shopping around phase, kind of seeing what I'm actually good at, what I'm not good at, and more importantly, are any of the things that I'm good at something that I want to be doing? That's in fact why this channel exists. One of the reasons, because I want to figure out, do I want to potentially pursue this as a way of making money? Now, before I sound redundant, it's okay to take an office job. It's okay to take whatever job that you think will make you happy. But it's also okay for you to right now say, I don't like my job and I don't want to do this, and then for you to leave and find something else. You will find a way, but I don't want you to wake up at 50, 60, 70, 80 and be like, where did my life go? I essentially traded a lot of my time for money, and for what? For what purpose? It was not fulfilling whatsoever. The next thing is, and this is going to be even more controversial, is your friend group. Now again, for fear of sounding redundant, you are the 5 people that you spend the most amount of time with. That is such a cliche at this point that basically everybody knows about it, but just in case you didn't, there you go. You are the 5 people that you spend the most amount of time with. So that's all well and good, but what do I actually do with that information? And that, I think, is where the rub is. Now, how do I actually judge if I actually have a good group of people around me? And I have actually a very good way of doing that, and it's something that has worked for a few people now. And that is, would you mind changing places with the people you're spending time with? And if the answer is a very resounding no, then potentially you don't want to spend time with that person. If you were to trade places with that person for a day, would that be better or worse than where you are right now? And if the answer is worse and you wouldn't want to trade with them for a day, then you perhaps do want to consider maybe nudging that person in a better direction, or maybe spending slightly less time with them. Now, I'm not telling you to cut all your friends off all at once right now, but you might want to consider who you actually spend your time with, and do they make you happy or are they miserable? Do they drag you down? Because happiness is so important in the long run. Because cutting your friends off right now might be the harder thing to do. But again, instant gratification is the enemy. And being the enemy, you probably don't want to do what instant gratification tells you to do. And so it might be easier in the short term to keep all the people that you're hanging with around, but in the long term, it might not make you optimally happy or optimally fulfilled. And last but certainly not least, people skip on themselves. People take the shortcuts with themselves, and that is what ultimately kills them, because taking shortcuts with yourself literally leads to the other two things that I talked about. The other two things are the patchwork solution. Getting a job that fulfills you is a patchwork solution, because you can't really know what fulfills you until you know what fulfills you, until you know yourself enough to know what fulfills you. And in terms of your friends and the people you hang out with and the people you spend time with are, for the most part, a reflection of who you are. They're a reflection of you as an individual. So if you looked at the people you hang out with and you went, I don't really want to spend time with them, then perhaps flip the script on you and flip the mirror on yourself and look, are you the person that you want to be? And this is a hard thing to do, and it's kind of a cliche thing, and you might be rolling your eyes, but to which I ask, have you actually objectively looked yourself in the mirror and asked, is this the life that I want to live? Am I taking shortcuts? And if so, because you very likely are taking shortcuts, will these shortcuts in the long term pay off in my benefit or my detriment? Because not all shortcuts are bad. Because for the most part, shortcuts are bad when looked at compared to what you could have gotten in the long term. As well as taking shortcuts with yourself really ultimately boils down to how much poop do you have in your room. And if you don't understand that metaphor, this video right here does a very good job of explaining it. I go into this poop metaphor, this poop in your room metaphor, a fair bit on this one. So I strongly encourage you guys to, after this video, watch that video and more importantly, implement that video. Actually think about this for yourself. Don't just take this video and go, oh, well, that's a cute video. I really should be doing that. Oh, like he is right. I mean, if you think I'm right, go tell me in the comments down below and tell me I am right or I'm not right. I really want to know where I am and what you guys think. But I want you to actually go and apply this. I want you to flip the mirror on yourself and say, am I taking shortcuts? And if so, where am I taking shortcuts? Am I taking shortcuts with my emotions? As in, am I just kind of pushing my emotions down and not actually resolving them? Am I taking shortcuts with my personal life? Or am I not taking any shortcuts and I'm doing great? And if so, I am so happy for you. And that is ultimately what my bet is. My bet is that if I stop taking shortcuts and I deliberately take the road less traveled by, that will make all the difference. That will ultimately bring me the true, lasting, long-term happiness and not the midlife crisis or the regret in someone's eyes. And I'm truly grateful to Gary for bringing this to my attention and for letting me attempt to resolve these issues both in myself, in my group of friends, as well as what I actually want to do with my life. If you've made it this far, please consider hitting that subscribe button, because I really want you guys to change along with me, because together we can do so much more than either one of us could do alone. And so I want you to join me on my journey, and I want to join you on yours. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.